You know what's on my mind? So I was just riding with this guy from work, and he was playing some old school hip hop, right? Back when, back when it was, in my opinion, real music. It told a story, and it wasn't, you know, it was an educational story. Well, it was. I mean, sometimes educational, sometimes, but it was a story. It told a story, and you could understand it, you could follow it, and you could jam out to it. It wasn't this mumble rap culture that we have now. 33. You know, Listening to that music, it brought back memories. You know, brought back memories of a younger me, a wilder me. I shared some stories with them, and when I sit and reflect on it, everything we've been through makes us who we are today. For the lessons and the blessings, both of them, combined. It's all combination to add to the solution of who we are today, right? And the funny thing about that is too is, we're not defined by our past. We're accountable for our past. We're accountable for it, but we're not defined by it. We're defined by the choices and decisions that we make right here and right now, today. But when I think about it, there's a lot that it taught me, right? There's a lot that I learned. I learned a lot about, setting boundaries with people. I learned a lot about liars, learned a lot about manipulators, learned a lot of different things. I learned a lot of different tools to put into my tool belt to use when I need to later on in life, which, unfortunately for those things, it's quite often. But it just becomes second nature to you. It's easy. It becomes easy to spot it out, just like anything should. You know what I mean? No one starts off good at anything, but with practice. But there's things that we don't forget. There's things that we don't forget. There's lessons that we learn that stick with us for life. And when you make a change in your life, when you make the big changes in your life, and you straight up change who you are, right? You stop doing a lot of things, you start doing a lot of new things, right? But also at the same time, you find better ways to apply your skills, because that's what they are. They're skills. They're all skills, but it's not the tool. It's who it is and how you wield it, right? Just like a car doesn't kill someone, a drunk driver kills someone. It's not the alcohol, it's the person, right? Guns don't 3:00 on the dot. Guns don't kill people. It's the person behind it, right? But when you can change, you know what I mean? When you can make positive changes in your life and take those tools that you learned and apply them in a better way, it's really helpful. The hard thing though is sometimes it's finding out how to apply it, right? Because we gain a lot of skills, and some of them, they're not going to be applicable to anywhere else. There's too many different variables, and the variables are leading to not good situations. But it's using our discernment. It's using our discernment to know which tools we're supposed to hold on to and put in our tool belt, and which tools we're supposed to throw that motherfucker away. Because you're not supposed to keep all your tools. You're not supposed to keep them all. But there's so many different variables too, and no situation is the same. There's a lot of similarities, right? But that's why we can relate to people, but we can't truly feel what they felt, because we didn't deal with what they dealt. And then not only do we not deal with what they dealt then, but we don't know what all led up to it either. But we can't have a lot of similarities. And holy shit. Okay, but there are a lot of similarities. You know what I mean? A lot of the lessons are similar. A lot of the lessons are similar. A lot of the lessons are similar, but they all take strength. They all take strength. You know what? I kind of believe that, well, you know, if we go along the belief of 4, 5, 6, if we go along the belief of our minds are reset when we come here, because we're here to learn, right? We're here to learn. But if we go off the belief of we retain the information, we retain the knowledge that's stored in our DNA, if we go off that belief, you know, but as that's why we can pick things up naturally and easily, because we've mastered in previous lifetimes. You know, those are tools that we mastered and we put in our tool belt to carry on with us. You know, when you think about it like that, that's why, but they all take different levels of strength too, depending on the situation, you know, depending on the variable. There's so many different variables. Some people are able to hide their strength a lot better too. 5, 4, 4. Some people just don't talk about they don't talk about all their problems, because what's the point of talking about it? One, the understanding of the importance of the words that we speak. And so why speak about it? Much less the people that can't relate, much less the people that can't give you any advice. So what's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point other than festering it? And then you mentioned it to this person. Now this person is going to keep bringing it up. And you know, not to say the person's not bad or this and that, but if they can't really relate and they don't have valuable, if they don't have valuable, what's the proper way to say that? If they don't have something to add to it that can help you either process it or through the situation, I don't see a point in sharing it. I don't see a point in sharing it, because at that point you're talking about something you can't do anything about. You're speaking about it. You're speaking it. So what are you speaking it more into existence? Because you're not coming up with any solutions. You're not speaking solutions into existence, which is very important. It's very crucial. I very strongly believe in the power of the tongue, and just as, you know, basic instructions before leaving Earth. You know, we have the power of life and death in our tongue. Just as we should not be, you know, speaking death onto others, we shouldn't be speaking death upon ourselves either, which we do all the fucking time. We do it all the fucking time. And the sad part is a lot of us don't even realize it, because we're casting spells, we're using spelling to cast spells on ourselves. And that's a big, you know, that's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem that people aren't aware of it, because you can't correct the problem. You can't correct the problem if you're not aware that it's a problem. And it's discouraging. It's discouraging when your eyes are open and you can see the problems. Because you can't force people to see things. You can't force people to believe things. Even though you don't believe them to be true, because you only believe in things you do not know. You know them to be true. You know them to be correct. You know them to work, but you can't force people to believe the truth. You can't. And the funny thing about that too is, you know, everyone is so quick to force feed lies, deceit, but we're not force fed the truth. We're not force fed the truth. And then when we get a taste of the truth, a lot of times we push it away. It's like, no, I didn't like that. What is that? What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? That's how we treated the truth a lot of times. I laugh, but it's not funny. It's really not. It's really not funny. It's not funny how misunderstood everything is. But it's intentional. It's done intentionally. We're intentionally taught lies. We're intentionally spoon-fed the lies, force-fed the lies. And then we're constantly reinforced the lies. A lot of us don't take the time to do our own research, which it's our job. It's our fucking job to do research. It's our fucking job to look into our beliefs. Because what's a belief though? What's the word believe? You believe in things you do not know. I don't believe in my God. I know my God. But people are too quick to believe in lies instead of knowing the truth. A lot of times it wouldn't take that much work to know the truth. You just gotta look. Seek and you shall find. Seek and you shall find the content you're looking for. I hadn't even looked at it. I've been holding on to that for a while. But everything happens at impeccable timing. Divine timing. Divine timing. But the hard realization is coming into the divine timing when it's not working in your favor. That's the fun part. That's the challenging part. That's the test. Are you going to fail? Or are you going to pass it? Because we're forced to repeat the test until we pass them. And then we still get tested on the test. All the time. Repeats. But they get easier. They don't get funner. They get easier, though. They get easier, though, because we acknowledge the lessons. We acknowledge them. Even the shitty ones, we give thanks for them. Because, hey, thank you, that sucked, but I fucking learned it. Thank you. We learned it. You know, but it's acknowledgement. It's acknowledgement of everything. It's acknowledgement of the achievements, which we need to do. But it's also acknowledgement of the hard lessons, which is still an achievement. But it's that shift of the mindset to be able to look at it like that. It's the shift of the mindset. It's the shift of the mindset. Well, the shift in mindset's not easy. It's not easy work. It's not easy work because a lot of times it was reckless behavior too. Constant. Well, you could even say lifetimes. You know, because we don't learn certain lessons. So we continue reckless behavior lifetime after 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 lifetime. Are you sick yet? Are you sick of it yet? Are you satisfied with the outcome? Are you satisfied with it? Because if you aren't, maybe you should try switching things up. You'll be thankful if you did. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. And that was already flipped over. I can guarantee you that. And guess what? Not only get satisfaction, but you get that big spirit energy. You know what I mean? You get that confidence. You know what I mean? That big dick energy, that big spirit energy. You know what I mean? And it's satisfying. But it's the funny thing about that too is this shift the mindset. You know, if I didn't have my mindset right now, you wouldn't demand. If I didn't have my mindset, you wouldn't even know the situation. You wouldn't be able to guess. You wouldn't be able to guess. Because not everyone needs to know. What good is blasting and what good is it going to do? Nothing. You know, but I'm not happy with my situations, but I'm content. It could be worse. I fixate on that. I choose to fixate on it could be worse. Well, I don't even fixate on that because I still fixate on the negative. It's I give thanks, and I'm happy with where I'm at. Which isn't always easy. It's not fucking easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. That's the second time that came out? Yeah, because I put it back in by accident, didn't I? That's not easy. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables. It's a lot of 39. Shifting your mindset. It's so important. You know, your mind's a battlefield. You can either be its commander or be its soldier. You have to be a commander of your mind before you win. You have to. You have to, because if you're not a commander of your mind, you're unreliable. You're unreliable because you're at the whim of your emotions. You're not at the whim of logic, of reason. You're thinking emotionally, off of your emotions, and you're thinking sporadic and erratically. And not taking the time to be still and listen. Not taking the time to be still and listen. Weary. You know, sometimes, you know, the longer we're on those weary roads, the harder it can be sometimes to give thanks. The harder it can be to be still and listen. because we're still in listening. Where are we at? Still the same situation. It's like, sweet. So you kind of, I don't know, you stop sometimes. You stop sometimes. It's the curiosity of the negative mindset that we give into. You know, the mental battle that we lose. The curiosity, the curiosity of, am I just crazy? It's the curiosity of, am I wasting my time? The curiosity of, am I doing it wrong? What's on the other, what if I switch it up? This, but that's fixating on the negative, you know what I mean? But the two beautiful cardinals, but the curiosity of, what if everything works out? What if I'm closer to the end than I really think I am? What if this really is working out for my greatest good? What if everything is playing out exactly as it's supposed to? What if everything is happening perfectly in divine timing? What if? I would rather stick to those. I would rather stick to that mindset, because that mindset's joyful. That mindset's joyful. Happiness, sadness, anger. It's all mindsets. Some are positive, some aren't. When we're choosing the positive, we're choosing heaven on earth. We're choosing happy. We're choosing what we should be choosing. But it's natural to choose the opposite, but we don't sit there. We don't stay there. We don't stay there. The faster we can switch over to the other side, the faster we can win that mental battle. And the faster we can change our mindset of, it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. The faster we do that, the faster we find joy. The faster we find joy, the faster we find a newfound motivation. But it's just the toughest. It's just the alchemization of the energy. When you become a master alchemist, and you can take those situations that should have broke you, did break you, but instead of breaking you, you turn that into fuel, and you use that to your benefit. And you can learn to become a master alchemist. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's rewarding. It's rewarding. Gonna end it right there. Your mind is a battlefield. You need to be its commander, not its soldier.